Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This morning we are going to be speaking about mental health, specifically in the area of substance abuse and alcohol. And to present this subject to you, let me introduce you to Mrs. Thilly Mokete, and she's going to give you the lowdown. Thank you very much. Over to you, Thilly.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate the time that you're giving me. Yesterday, my last presentation, which was yesterday, we looked at what substance and alcohol abuse is all about. We looked at who can be affected by alcohol and substance abuse. And today, we're going to be looking at the causes of alcohol and substance abuse. The causes are varied. Once more, as we have said yesterday, that alcohol and substances affect everybody. But here on my slide, I've got poverty as a cause of drug addiction. That doesn't mean poor people are the only ones that are going to be affected by substances and alcohol. But alcohol affects all strata of people, the rich and the poor. But one of the causes of addiction, because the poor people have got nothing to be doing during the course of the day or at night. They are unable to recreate amongst themselves, no recreational facilities available or activities that they can indulge into. Most of them are unemployed. And today we're even looking at the youth that is marginalized economically and all people that are disenfranchised, meaning that they are unable to economically and actively engage in whatever that the country is offering because they are pushed on the side. The other reason could be that people are surrounded by substance abuse and they take it as a norm. Others are stressed due to family problems or due to financial pressures. We're looking at our young people that are in school today that have to fit into their peers. So peer pressure also plays a huge role in causing drug addiction. Thank you, Patrick. Next slide. And this substance and alcohol abuse actually affects South Africa, our country, negatively. People that are on substances rely on the substances, and by so doing, it is causing them to abuse them. Alcohol as a drug is playing a major role, especially in the Eastern Cape, the Free State, the Northwest, and the Northern Cape, where people are overindulging in alcohol. They are not taking alcohol for leisure or for recreation only. They go beyond that. They are like depending on alcohol. And in KZN and Gauteng, we see people abusing dagga as well as other substances, tick and them. So most of these drugs would affect 90% of the time, would affect a big number of people, because once you are dependent, you are unable to eat well. You are unable to look after yourself. Psychologically, they get damaged. And all these conditions that affect them, communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases, weigh heavily on the country, weigh heavily on the purse of all of those that are contributing to the tax or to the finances of the government. Substance abuse and alcohol contribute big time to violent crimes. And a lot of people, don't know or cannot believe or remember that they were engaged in a violent crime because they were under the influence either of substances or under the influence of alcohol. A lot of our young people drop out of school because of substances. A lot of people that are employed, not all of them would hold down onto a job because they are unable to contribute or to perform very well at work, as they will either be away from work on a Monday or on a Friday or after a long weekend or a public holiday. And it's impossible for them to perform properly at work. All these users or abusers of alcohol and substances have got a problem of, contributing, as we said, to the GDP of the country, but they also become very sick. We see them in our casualties, we see them in clinics, and a lot of them are unable to participate in community affairs. Next slide, please, Patrick. And I'm going to go into this slide if, Patrick, you don't have questions.
Hang on. No questions for now. Thank you, Thilly. I'm just getting into the subject and just getting a broad view in my mind as to what's going on in the country, and it's really giving us a lot to think about. So I'm thinking about everything that you're talking about. It's very valuable information. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll put you back to the slideshow.
Yeah, back to the slideshow, Patrick. What is driving substance abuse in our country today? Urban violent crimes. There are so many criminal activities that are going on in our country today, and a lot of perpetrators that land up in jail or in our courts cannot remember that they were involved in this because of the illicit drugs or because of the alcohol that they had taken in large chunks. They end up in courts or they end up in jail. And a lot of them are still young. And unfortunately, it's males that end up in courts more than females. The next point is that of gender-based violence. We know that intimate partner violence, with the statistics that are out there, 45% are males and 20% are females who were drinking alcohol during the episode of the violence. And it's impacting on the kids that will grow up without a father who is in jail or a mother that landed up in jail because of the criminal activity during the episode of intimate partner violence. It is said that most males that end up in jail or that are behind bars, a fifth of them were arrested because of rape, and this they did during the influence of alcohol or during the influence of illicit drugs. So this has gone on to indicate that intimate partner violence is 5 times more the cause or the driver of substance abuse than if one partner was involved in alcohol or substance abuse, rather than if both partners are imbibing on alcohol or are both taking substances. So you can imagine if both are taking substances and they are drunk or they are high on the substance, there could be a lot of arguments that come out. There could be a lot of this and that come up, and they are unable to control their emotions. They are angry or they are suspicious, and what they do is to go at each other's throat. Between the two of them, none of them can say, "Oh, hang on," because mentally or emotionally or psychologically, they are unable to do that because they are drunk or euphoric. Patrick, any questions?
Okay. I'm very much looking forward to the solutions that we are being commissioned to present and to help the communities to find ways around this. I'm looking forward to finding out what kind of action is being taken to address these situations. How do you get somebody to change his behavior? You know, that's a big question. I don't know how. So, but I believe you got the answers, and that's why you're doing this whole presentation. So I'm looking forward to the future.
Okay. Patrick, in one of the slides, I've got the interventions of families or of ordinary people, where ordinary people like you and I, if we realize that perhaps a young person in our families has just started or is about to start because he's now befriended a wrong group, we call that individual aside, which is very important. We call the young person aside and we speak to him, not accusing that person, but explaining to the individual person that we are interested in him becoming a better person. We love him. We show him the support and we say to him, thank you. If he realizes that he's not going the right way, we are there to support him. And we monitor him, but not police him, which is different. We monitor with love, support with love, but not police and put pressure on the young person.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thilly, we are commissioned to help people to help themselves in this respect, like family caregivers that are people that are just a family member. They may not know how to do this. Yep. And I'm sure a lot of them don't. So I'm looking forward to somewhere in the future, some lessons or some demonstrations or some kind of teaching that directly shows the family member who's a caregiver and teaches him how to treat somebody like that. Because a lot of the time, I know these people that are substance abusers, or they don't just abuse. There's a reason behind it. And if we can get to the reason, then we can help them to overcome it for themselves. But to get to that reason, we are looking to you as the one who's going to give us the answers, not me, or yes, me too, but the people that have substance abusers in their homes. So I really look forward to you helping us, or like giving a lesson to the caregivers on how to address such a person, how to convert them and bring them back into normal society. I'm looking forward to that. And I know you're
Thank
going to
you.
do.
Thanks, Patrick. Yes. And I'd like to say that I'm not the only one, or mental health care professionals are not the only one. We also have social workers to help us in the team. We have psychologists, and we have got our normal counselors out there, who are the ones that most of the time when walking in and out of our homes or in our communities will pick up a child, will pick up a father or a mother that is abusing substances or alcohol. And then they bring them to our attention. So it's like a chain. We are working together, not as individuals. Yes.
Yes, but
Yes.
you know, the first responders are those who are being possibly abused by somebody who is abusing substance. And so those people that are there on the spot when it happens, if they know how to treat that or how to handle this person, do you not think maybe this would alleviate the burden on the national caregivers and psychologists and all those kind of people? Yes, that system must be there. I totally agree with that 100%. But what I'm thinking is that the people that are on the ground that are actually seeing the event taking place in front of them, the abuse that they might be delivering to a next door neighbor, his wife. This man could be beating up his wife. And so the neighbor sees this. How would he, in that instant, kind of like dissolve that situation before the wife is killed or something terrible like that happens? What kind of, like a first responder, like a first aid worker, that's what we're all about. That's what this whole SAOPA program is about. It's empowering people to be able to help themselves as well. But then, of course, the more extreme cases where they cannot help, obviously, they pull in the social worker, the psychiatrist, the psychologist, and the other professional caregivers, the social workers, or the social, what do they call them, psychosocial workers.
Yep.
Did you know what I'm saying, Thilly?
Yes, Patrick. Yes, Patrick, I hear you. So it's I don't know, from my side, I understand you to be saying there has to be active participation of community members. Yes, from us, it has to be education and education and education.
Yes.
Maybe having people in smaller groups and giving them information and together with them, seeing to it that the word spreads, that we need to be together, so that the more we talk about this, the more we drive the message home. Whether we speak at schools, or we do presentations at churches, in smaller groups, or in the community, the word will spread before everything gets out of proportion.
Out of control, yes. And these small groups, churches, schools, that's great. That's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful avenue of ministering or of actually trying to alleviate the problem. But remember, this program, what we are talking, these words that we are speaking right now, we have been given access to people's cell phones. This very recording that we're doing now is going to go onto a podcast. Do you know what a podcast is?
Yes, Patrick.
It's a very low data channel. Okay, it's not video, but it's audio. Now these people are going to be sitting at home, and now they see something happening next door, and they'll remember, hey, there's a podcast. We belong to the SAOPA WhatsApp group, and I saw something there on how to deal with somebody that's like going off the rails with abuse, of alcohol or whatever. And we are this is another avenue. This is an avenue whereby we intend to reach every single home where there is substance abuse. We intend to reach every home where there's chronic disease. We want to disseminate the responsibility of those who are suffering. We want to disseminate the work that the caregivers are giving. We want the people that are there on the scene to start listening to these presentations that we are giving, so that when they listen to it, they can say, oh, I can help now. I can do something. I did something wrong. I went and I took for argument's sake, I saw my neighbor beating up on his wife. So I took a big plank and I hit him over the head, and he turned around and he pulled out a knife and he cut my leg. That's completely the wrong thing to do. You probably...
Wrong.
Exactly. So if we can teach them the right things to do and help them, you've got the knowledge, Thilly. You are the one that has grown up in this area. You know these problems better than anybody does. I'm only just learning about them. But I know that this is our task. This is the task that the health department has given to SAOPA, to educate people how to look after themselves, not to put them through a university degree.
No.
We're talking about literacy. They must just understand the problems, the literacy, the language that we talk. They must be able to grasp it and then say, but I can do something about it. It comes back to that saying, I think Nelson Mandela said it. He said, don't ask your country, what can you do for me? Ask
yourself what you can do for your country.
Yes. You see, yes. So, and that way, this is how we're going to empower the family caregivers, those who are in the homes. We're not wanting these teachings to only to go to professionals. We're wanting these teachings to go to those who are in the homes. We are empowering our people. Okay, you want to go to the next slide?
Thanks for your comment, hey Patrick.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, by so doing, we are going to be reaching out to everyone out there.
Yes.
By this meeting,
this medium, this channel is being broadcast throughout the country, and it's not a once only. You can keep going back to it, and you can listen to
revisit
it
revisit
over and over
again.
Yes. Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
That's wonderful, eh?
Thank you, Patrick. It's awesome.
Okay, shall I show the next slide for you?
Please, Patrick. Thank you. Next one, after this one, Patrick. Okay, thank you. So now, how can we prevent alcohol and drug abuse? I am positive that a lot of people know how to prevent this. Either not to drink in front of kids and little ones, or to go overboard with alcohol and not even to think of going on to drugs. Because our young people are the ones that are at a huge risk, at a disadvantage of going on to drugs and alcohol. The other issue is the very young people that associate with wrong people or wrong groups, or because of peer pressure, they want to fit into the mates, they want to fit into the group. Because gangsterism, for example, in the Western Cape is a big thing. It's a thorn in the eye. And not only in Western Cape, we've seen it happening even here in Gauteng. it's like it's all over. So who can actually be the first person to stop this? It's families. It's families where we bring up kids. So we, as family members, are the people that must see to it that our young ones and our adolescents are groomed properly. Again, I'm going to go back to one of my presentations where I spoke about parenting. That poor parenting is one of the thorny issues once more, where kids grow up without guidance, where kids grow up being neglected and being abused, where we as adults are the ones that are showing our young ones that no, you can go onto drugs, you can even sell these drugs so that you get money from doing such illegal activities. And if we love our kids or our young people or each other in the family, even if we have an adult who is on drugs or has been on drugs before, and we warmly embrace that person, then we are on the right track. Thank you, Patrick. Any questions?
I think that's wonderful. That's really awesome. That we're starting to speak solutions into being, and not continuously reminding people of the problem. It looks to me that, I mean, the people out there in the countryside, what do you call those like townships? And then you also got, like, if you go out into the rural areas, you've got like these huge villages of people that are living there. They all must be very much aware of this, of the problems that they have, and they are looking for answers. Obviously, the people that are being assigned the job are not enough, and that is why we must start thinking solutions. We got to think, how can we help those who are on the ground and that are there in the moment, that can do something about it? Give them the right information. Tell them how to deal with a drunk woman. Tell them how to deal with a child that's got this, that's been taking tick or something like that. How do you deal with them? You know, and what do you say to them? And that kind of thing. I get so excited about this because we have now got a channel. Your voice, Thilly, your voice is now going to reach the whole country.
Millions of people.
All the rural areas, millions of people are going to hear this advice that you are giving them. They no longer have to rely on or wait for a couple of weeks maybe for a caregiver or a psychologist or psychiatrist to come around, or, you know, isn't that awesome?
It is wonderful, Patrick.
Yeah, and that
it is it is great.
Yeah. That is what your commission is. That is what you are called to. You are called to a national platform to reach the everyday people down on the ground. That's what we want. That is what we are doing with Saopa. It's a massive movement, and we're going to change this country. We're going to educate our people. Okay.
Yes, Patrick.
Okay.
Next slide, please.
Okay.
Okay. Next one. Yeah. Okay. Patrick and I have just elaborated how important it is from our side as SAOPA that we spread the information from this platform. Now, apart from that, if communities or a family has got someone that is abusing drugs, and that person perhaps is in a very critical stage or an acute stage where they are unable to talk, unable to walk, or semi-conscious or even unconscious, because some of these drugs are highly addictive and some of these drugs are strong. They can render an individual unconscious. The first thing that must be done is that person must be admitted. That person has to be treated with the utmost care and speed that is possible. That is the extreme case. Now, the other way is that of a young person or an individual in the family who is abusing drugs or has just started to use drugs. So the first thing is with love and care and support to sit the person down and speak to the person until they admit. You're not, as a family member or as family members, trying to grill this person in order that they come up with information or they admit that they are on drugs. But the minute they understand that you are assisting them, you are giving them the love and the support, it might be easier for that person to say, yes, I am using substances, even though it is very difficult for them to admit that they have a problem already if they are way down into the abuse of drugs and alcohol. So if they are using substances and alcohol to an extent that they are unable to come up and say, I admit, they could be, at their lowest point before they say, yeah, I am using substances, and not to discredit them, but they are different. One would say, yes, I am, and the other would say no and try and hide, and they are very tricky. They use different tricks. So they would differ by their way, that genetics or their way of dealing with life, or who is going to be giving them the support. At times it's kids that want to give the dad the support, or the mother, or the parents that want to give the kids the support. But then, yeah, it gets a little bit tricky when a person in the home is on substances. But the love, the support, the care that is being given to that individual counts, and it will show him or her the direction. Thanks, Patrick.
I think that's the key. That's the key, Thilly. Love. We live in a society where we just keep banging each other over the head. And the more we bang each other over the head for our wrongdoing, the more we drive them away from us. And we drive them deeper into that which they are doing, which is the substance abuse. I think most people that are abusing substances really have a problem with love, that they are not being loved. But then, of course, the stuff they do really irritates the people around them and makes them angry with them, makes them swear at them maybe, and that just makes them worse. So the key is love. I really, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. Well done on that one. That's the only way we're going to turn these people is with love.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick. Next slide, please. Thank you, Patrick. The treatment of these people, suffering from the abuse of alcohol and drugs, will be different from one individual to the other. Those that are just saying hello to drugs or hello to alcohol, these are the people that we need to sit down and actually educate them, give them the love, give them the support, that it's important to stay away from substances and alcohol, that you are cool if you're not doing drugs. You are smart if you're not doing alcohol. It doesn't mean that you are a fool or you don't belong or you won't fit in with your peers. Rather, leave them aside and look for people that are like you, and then a person that understands that there is love and there is support from my home, where they are practicing what they are preaching, because they are also not doing drugs, they're also not doing alcohol to the extreme, maybe, they would understand. And when they have faltered, then we accept them with open arms and continue to show them the proper way. But for those that are, that have gone deeper into the whole of drug and drug and alcohol abuse, these are the ones where we need to get them onto a higher level of treatment, where they can go for outpatient rehabilitation or for inpatient rehab, where they are admitted and are being assisted with coming clean. Thank you, Patrick. Any questions?
Not now, thank you. That's very good. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. We've spoken about speaking to family members and family members being very cooperative in assisting and supporting an individual who has got problems. And now it said that as soon as you realize that, as parents, we need to bond very strongly with our kids to an extent that we shouldn't be shy or look the other way when you smell some substance on them, or you realize that, remember with the signs and symptoms, that their eyes are red or bloodshot eyes, that they are unable to walk properly. The minute you realize or you observe that the young one behaves in a manner that you are not used to, sit the person down and speak to the person with love, because that could be a very important first step that you take. Otherwise, they might, go down the drain and you lose them. So speak to them as soon as possible so that we assist them. And like I said before, that you need to approach them with love. Approach them with love, speak in a direct way. Because if you accuse them, you're going to lose them. If you speak indirectly, you're still going to lose them. And what's important again is that you don't lose yourself. Don't be angry. If you can't do it personally, there must be somebody in the family, extended family or immediate family, that can assist and be the one that carries the conversation and offer to accompany the person to organizations such as the South African National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. That is, if the individual has gone deeper into the abuse of substances as well as alcohol. And then there are different bodies, like SANCA, like Narcotics Anonymous, and as well as Alcoholic Anonymous. And these institutions or bodies are all over in our towns and townships. They are all over in the newspapers. But we at SAUPA as well, we're going to be reiterating that we've got these people at very, very, very near to us. That is, if we need them and you need them as well, we are here to help. But we are the ones that are saying to you, guys, start off by speaking to your young people. Start off by forming or creating a strong bond in families so that you are able to address these issues before they go out of hand. Before we go to the SANCA and Narcotics Anonymous, which is very far, Let's speak in our homes.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. You can start looking at slowing down to an end, if you like, Thilly.
Yes, Patrick. Okay. Thank you. We in South Africa today are looking at a whole host of issues, like the problems that we are having of alcohol and substance abuse, which are weighing the country down. Because in my conclusion, I'd like to say, Patrick could be driving out there with his dear wife, and someone who is out of control with his drugs, or who is drunk to an extreme that they driving in the same lane as Patrick is driving, but from the opposite direction. And they have destroyed a lot of lives. People have killed each other. People have been murdered on our roads. People are not themselves when they are drunk. They want to cross a road when it is not safe to do so. So a lot of people have lost their lives, and it's a big amount of money that is being paid out there to those that have lost their lives. And I take it that we all love each other, even in our little families, that we are not looking at money, that I need to get money, but I need to get my partner here. I need my daughter here. I need my son there. I need my wife there. We are not going to be losing families and our people ending up in jail, not knowing what they were doing the last night because they were high on drugs or high on alcohol.
Yes.
So we need to save our lives as much as possible.
Yes, amen to that. Amen to
Amen,
that.
amen, Patrick.
Oh,
Amen, Patrick.
There's such a lot of work to be done, such a lot of preparation we still need to go through to help our nation. You know, people are bleeding, and those people that the victims of these drug abusers and alcohol abusers, they are the ones that I think could probably have a huge impact on the way these people are behaving by loving them and not by fighting them. You know, love is such a powerful tool. Love is, it's the answer for the world.
Yes, Patrick. I agree with you.
I agree with you, my sister. Shall we say goodbye to our people?
Yes. I'd like to thank everyone that had zoomed in our meeting, and we'll see each other again. And I hope this has assisted us, and it will continue to assist us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thilly. You've been wonderful. And thank you for Sawopa for opening up this platform for us. Thank you for the Department of Health that is sponsoring this program. And we don't want to let them down. We don't want to let them down because yes, we're not going to let them down. We're going to be good stewards, and we're going to do this thing responsibly. Okay.
Appreciate Patrick.
Okay.
Thanks
Thilly.
for your help. Thank you, Patrick.
Pleasure. It's my awesome pleasure. Thank you very much. Okay.
Most welcome.
Bye-bye then.
Bye, Pat. Bye.